Welcome in to the Roll Tide Rewind. We appreciate y'all joining us here today. We've had great growth in the last month of the channel. We have a new sponsor. We have more subscribers. It's awesome to see the success of the channel. We appreciate all you guys' support. Yesterday, we talked about Cederian Morgan and his potential to be a starter. Now let's talk about Derek Meadows. Derek Meadows, just like Cederian Morgan, is a guy that has a big size mismatch compared to all the other guys. Cederian Morgan is 6'4", 223, so a bit bigger than Derek Meadows, but Meadows is 6'5", 215. Has a size advantage. He was a 4-star, number 10 receiver in the country. Went to Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas. That is a very nationally acclaimed high school for football. If you ever watched the show QB1, Tate Martell went to Bishop Gorman High School. I know that's not the best example to use of Bishop Gorman High School, but it's a high school that gets a lot of attention from a lot of great athletes. You see as a junior and senior, the yards per catch that he has is insane. Doesn't have a ton of yardage like Cederian Morgan did, like over 1,000 yards like Cederian Morgan did, but the yards per catch is something you have to take in and go, dang. He played with other great players on his team, so the stats don't show out crazy, but in the film, which you're about to watch, you're going to see a lot of good things. You're going to see that he's a deep threat. Obviously, with the yards per catch, you're going to see that he, as a guy that can get downfield, he's great in the intermediate RPO game, which is good to see because of Alabama's Keelan Russell. He's probably going to be the starter, and it looks like that is a game that he's going to do. His height is an advantage, obviously. He's also a very aggressive blocker. If you block well as a receiver, it may not matter to most people, but it does matter to a lot of people if you're able to block. And then we'll go over some other intangibles that he has and we'll talk about the spring game a little bit. I have one clip from the spring game, and we'll talk about his potential to be a starter at the end. But first, a word from our new sponsor, ENAK Seasoning.
Hi, I'm Thomas from the Roll Tide Rewind, and we are officially brought to you by ENAK Seasoning. Launched in April of 2025, ENAK has already sold over 3,200 units, and they are just getting started.
Crafted by a man who knows that great meals and tradition bring people together, ENAK blends bold spices with tradition to turn everyday dishes into cherished moments. You can use ENAK seasonings on pretty much anything: chicken, rice, salad, pizza, wraps, vegetables, and much more. You can find products on ENAKFlavors.com, nationwide shipping available, as well as information on upcoming events they will be participating at.
Explore the world of flavor with ENAK, and as always, Roll Tide.
You can check out ENAKFlavors.com to learn more. So let's talk to the film. Let's start with the film. You can guess which one is Derek Meadows. He's the one at the top. Just look for the tallest guy. That's probably going to be him. Red zone I think Alabama was not great in the red zone last year. Cederian Morgan adds that aspect to the red zone, but so does Derek Meadows. It's at the top of the screen. Quarterback is able to roll out to make a play, but you can see just on this play right here why Derek Meadows is valued, or where people are valuing him really high. This quarterback high balls the ball only so Derek Meadows can catch it. High points it to Derek Meadows, gets the play done. His height is going to be key, but he's also a great jumper, even with the 6'5" height. I'll let the highlights play for a little bit, but he was actually the Nevada 2023 Gatorade Track and Field Player in the Year. There's an example of the RPO game that we'll talk about, and we'll also show a highlight from the spring game that talks about that. But he has great speed as well as the height advantage. He was a Track and Field Player of the Year in Nevada. He was first in the 300-meter hurdles, so speed and jumping ability. He was second in the 110-meter hurdles. He was gold in the 4x400 squad. He ran the 400 in 52.41 seconds. People that could do math really fast, his pace is under a 4-minute mile. Now, obviously, he probably won't be able to sustain that pace for 4 minutes for a mile, but it's good to see that's your pace, consistent pace. But you can see here, he has good diving ability here. He's a very good athlete. Not just a guy that can jump really high. He's a guy that can just jump, kind of all around. Wingspan is pretty good for him. He has an 80-inch wingspan. For people that can't do that in feet, that is 6 feet 8 inches. So almost like a basketball player with that wingspan. There's him in his deep threat ability. Like I said, 25 yards per catch, 26 yards per catch his last 2 years. The guy that's big deep threat ability. Played in 12 games last year for Alabama, mostly on special teams, but he did play a good amount as a receiver. He got hurt in the Missouri game, and that kind of slowed back his development on the receiver front. But he was playing early in the year against Florida State. I remember he subbed in to play like multiple snaps, and I was surprised because I didn't know that this was a guy that Alabama was thinking was going to contribute, but he played very early. And then, like I talked about, like he was Nevada track athlete of the year, great height, also great speed. As you can see here, accelerating at the end to get out of the way of the defenders. But you can see the size advantage is so noticeable with Derek Meadows. Contested catch is good to see. Cederian Morgan shows up on film a little bit better with contested catches than Derek Meadows does, but obviously we haven't seen a ton of them from Derek Meadows, but he's got good intangibles from what I can tell from these clips. Here he is right here, breaking a few tackles, getting upfield. The yards after catch is great to see. These last few clips here of his high school film are blocking. I know this isn't like the crazy thing that matters a ton to receivers, but it's good to see that he is aggressive with blocking and he finishes blocks, because that can make or break a play. Like one extra block for a running back could spring him free for 30 extra yards, maybe even a touchdown. Same thing with screen passes. So if he's going to block well, he's going to be utilized a lot in the screen game, probably. And then also a guy that Alabama brought in the transfer portal, Josh Ford, is great at blocking. So I think add those two on the field at the same time, maybe watch for screen passes. So it's good to see an aggressiveness from a receiver doing stuff like this. Now we're in the spring game. He had 5 catches, which led the team or tied the team lead in the spring game. Had 63 yards, had this touchdown right here. But this is that RPO action that I showed you at the beginning. We'll show plays. We'll try to go back and forth between the plays. But here he is at the bottom of the screen. He's 6'5", but he, like I said, he moves very well for a guy that's 6'5". Doesn't move like he's so slow. And Keelan hits him in stride, able to break tackles and get in the end zone. But great get off on the slant by Derek Meadows. Because, I mean, if they say this is like a 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line, he catches it, gets tackled right there at the 2. That's a 9-yard gain. You're setting up 2nd and 1 from the 2, but still breaks a tackle, gets to the end zone for a touchdown. We'll go back to the original RPO. This is one from like the 30-yard line here, but same kind of concept. You know, you see the speed more so in this one, just how he gets away. His long strides at 6'5" are going to put him in another class of his own, almost in a way. But like with the Cederian Morgan video, we talked about the depth chart at the end of the video. Ryan Coleman-Williams is a guy that's going to be a starter. Loxier Brooks is the guy that's going to be a starter. You're kind of looking at who's the third guy. With Noah Rogers being injured, that creates an opportunity for this position. Noah Rogers is supposed to miss probably the first portion of the year. So that's going to create an opportunity for one of these peep guys to step up. Now, for this receiver room, how Kalen DeVore plays his receivers, he plays a lot of guys. There's going to be guys that play a majority of the snaps, but it's not like these guys are going to play every single snap. So I expect Ryan and Loxier to play a majority of the snaps. So then the question is, who's that third guy that's going to play the third majority? Is it Cederian Morgan? Is it Derek Meadows? Is it Rico Scott? I would lean that it's either Cederian Morgan or Derek Meadows just because of their size advantage, because Ryan Williams is like 6'1". Ryan Coleman-Williams is 6'1". Loxier's 5'9". So you need a guy that's like 6'4", 6'5", like one of these guys that could step up and be that size advantage to the outside, take away a corner that could be guarding Ryan or Loxier. Rico Scott did start last year against Florida State, but I don't see him starting over these two guys. And if I had to make the prediction today, I would lean Cederian Morgan. Doesn't mean that Derek Meadows, 1, isn't going to play, 2, isn't going to start. So these guys are going to play. They're going to have their time to shine. They play East Carolina, Kentucky, and Florida State in the first 3 weeks. So they'll get it right, hopefully by then, because the season only gets harder from there. Especially the 6th, 7th, and 8th game. It's like Georgia, A&M, and Tennessee. So that's a hard group of 3 right there. So your hope is they get it fixed pretty early, but also maybe Noah Rogers is healthy and he's actually looking good, and maybe he's back in the lineup. Maybe that's what Alabama needs as a juice, but we'll see. What do you think about Derek Meadows? Do you think he's a guy that's going to come in and take advantage of the absence of Noah Rogers and be a guy that comes in and starts? Like we mentioned, the height is always an advantage. He's great speed-wise. It's very underrated, his speed is, and he's also a great jumper, even with the height being 6'5". And then also he's a guy that has a long wingspan. Like you're going to see here on this catch how well he reaches out and grabs this ball. So he's a good athlete. Like I said, Gatorade Track and Field Player of the Year in Nevada in 2023. So what do you think about Derek Meadows? Do you think he's a guy that will come in and seize that opportunity? Do you think it'll be Cederian Morgan, or do you think it'll be Rico Scott? Let us know down in the comments what you think. But as always, we appreciate the support, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their week, and roll Tide.